In the next edition of It's About Money, my guest will be Shellyer, and she is with the Women's Council, the volunteer secretary, and she's also the Senior Construction Project Manager of Facilities Planning and Construction at Rochester Regional Health. I hope you can join us for that segment. Hello and welcome to another edition of It's About Money. I'm Nannette Nocon and thank you for joining us. I'm excited to have my guest today is Shellyer, who is the Secretary at the Women's Council, volunteer leadership position, and she's also the Senior Construction Project Manager, Facilities Planning and Construction for Rochester Regional Health. That sounds like a big job.
I guess it kind of is, now that I think of it. Yeah, it's a fun job, though.
Yeah,
no, I consider it a job. I really enjoy it, so
that's
it's
wonderful.
Construction, yeah.
Wonderful, that's great. So I want to talk about the Women's Council. Thank you so much for being here to talk about that. And so tell us about the Women's Council. What is it about?
What is it about? So we really are for women. We promote, we empower, we inspire, we lead, we challenge. You know, our goal is really to take all of these professional women in our group and inspire them to reach their full potential. And honestly, we do this in 4 different ways. We increase the visibility of them, we recognize them, these women who contribute to the vitality and the economic success of the greater Rochester area. That's one way. We provide opportunities for them, both personally and professionally, through development. We support the efforts of them to reconnect with professional aspirations, and we support them through community service initiatives that ultimately advance our mission.
Sure, well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So who is a typical member?
Oh, geez, so we don't have a prototypical member.
Okay.
We are professional women.
Yes, okay.
So we have members that are just starting out in their careers. We have women that are extremely seasoned in their careers. It's a wonderful cross-section of females that we all just have a great bond, and we network, we share our challenges, we look to each other for advice. The membership is just very varied, so that's the best way to explain it, but we all are professional women. That's the one consistent piece.
That's wonderful. And so these are women probably that would normally not connect because they might be isolated in their jobs.
Possibly not, correct. So this really brings us together.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So talk with me about the mission and the vision of the Women's Council.
So we really, we tend to, as I explained before, we really are for women, and we go out of our way to really reach out to our members and to collaborate with them. You know, our vision is just to empower and to inspire. Yes. So honestly, it's a mission, it's a vision, it's a manifesto. Yes, but we are there to support each other and help each other through our challenges throughout our careers.
To be better at who we are.
Exactly.
By engaging with one another. So
exactly.
Tell us about the different networking opportunities, right?
Yes. Oh my goodness. So we have, and I want to make sure I list them all because there's just so many. We have a wonderful year-long seminar, for instance, that we called Building Your Briefcase. And this, we meet quarterly, and we highlight both our members and our Athena finalists and recipients from over the years. And these amazing women, they share their personal and professional stories to essentially inspire the other members to share their experiences. And they show their varied paths to their professional successes, their challenges, how they've overcome them. They provide great advice, and they're kind of like panels and round tables, and there's a lot of interaction. So these Building Your Briefcase programs are just hugely successful, and we find that they're just very attractive to professional women. That's just one of the many events that we have. We have networking events where they're primarily social events, which tend to also be very attractive for networking reasons.
Sure.
And they're very non-structured, so they're fun, they're happy hours. We've done boutique crawls where we gather a bunch of our members together and we go to all the different boutiques And it's all usually during Fashion Week. That's a big popular one. And then also, the Headshot Happy Hour. I don't know if you've seen.
Yes,
I
yes.
believe you've almost participated in that one before. Yes, yeah.
Participated in the program, so it's great. The headshot is, I think, great because women might not take the time to get their professional headshots done.
Exactly.
And here's a chance to do it.
Here's a chance to do it. Here's a chance to not only do we make it affordable, but we bring all of our members together and potential members, even non-members, bring them in, introduce them to our wonderful group of women, and it's a networking opportunity, it's social, and again, you get a beautiful headshot by Natalie Sinisgali, and it's affordable.
Yeah.
So that's, again, we have so many different events and opportunities to bring these women together.
Yeah, it makes it's like you don't have to make all these appointments. I mean, you have to sign up, obviously,
Sure.
but it's a lot easier.
Very laid back.
Yeah,
Very
way
laid
of
back.
doing it. That's great.
Absolutely.
And the Briefcase program, that's usually in the morning every quarter?
Typically, we found that time works best for these professional women.
Yeah.
The earlier the better, so that they can get in and they can enjoy the series and the program and be on with their day.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's nice to have this different opportunities. And a lot of times we don't play, we're so focused on the job thing.
I know.
So it's nice to be able to network and just, enjoy
It is.
an afternoon.
Sip your coffee and listen to these amazing women.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So there's a number of different awards that the Women's Council promote, right?
Yes.
And one of them is the Athena.
The Athena, which is obviously internationally recognized, you would know, as being a recipient in 2017. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So this award, believe it or not, some details here that even I have learned. It was founded in 1982. Again, internationally recognized in Lansing, Michigan, by a woman named Martha Mertz. And the award was established to essentially honor the achievements of exceptional women, the women leaders, as well as how they inspire others to achieve excellence in their professional and personal lives. So in summary, it really focuses on three categories as we see it. These women that are essentially recipients and or finalists of the Athena Award typically demonstrate excellence, creativity, and initiative in their profession. That's typically a given. They provide valuable service by contributing time and energy to improve the quality of life for others in their community. And they actively, this is the big one, they actively assist women in realizing their full leadership potential. So they're giving back. And what we also found is there's 8 common traits of these amazing women. Typically, the Athena models, they identify these 8 distinct traits. They are always their authentic self. They always create and maintain strong relationships, both professionally and personally. They give back, like I mentioned. They collaborate. They're courageous. They are constantly learning. And they're fierce advocates. And they celebrate. They exude joy and positivity. These are just 8 common traits that we have found consistently across all the Athena recipients and finalists.
Yeah, and then more recently you also added the Young Athena.
We did,
Yes.
we did. So, fun fact, actually, since 1982, more than 6,700 top female leaders have received the Athena Award, believe it or not.
Wow,
across
that's amazing.
multiple countries.
Yes,
Yeah, so the Athena Young Professional Award, as you mentioned, also internationally recognized, was founded in 2007, and it mirrors the Athena Award. It honors emerging women leaders between the ages of 30 and 45 who demonstrate excellence, creativity, and initiative, again, in their profession. Same exact premise as the Athena Award, different category, we'll say age group, but it was adopted in the greater Rochester area in 2015.
I see, so it's really a fairly new
It is
award.
fairly new, yeah. And I was lucky enough last year in 19, well this past year, to have been a finalist.
Yes,
So I got to experience it. Yeah, it was great. It was great, as you know.
Yeah.
It's a fabulous experience.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's nice to have young women have sort of a track to follow, and then others would also view them as mentors in a way.
Absolutely.
Even though they're young, they because of the achievements.
It's inspirational for
Yes,
them.
yes, absolutely.
It
That's
gives them
great.
something to work towards, and it helps them navigate sometimes the path, their own path.
Yeah. And then there's something else that the Women's Council
Yes.
does for the young graduates from high school.
Yes, yes, which I'm extremely passionate about. This is my baby that I've taken on as being part of the board for the Women's Council. And for the last 2 years, I have been the chair of the Young Women of Distinction, which again, it embodies the mindset of promoting successful young women, promoting, supporting, and helping them along. So essentially it's an award presented to high school senior women who demonstrate academic excellence, of course, leadership, and commitment to community service. Those are our 3 focus areas in the Young Women of Distinction Award. And submissions are received from all over the west side of Monroe County, the east side, and we've got a regional category, which are the 8 surrounding counties, and then the city of Rochester proper.
I see.
So from those 4, we'll say, categories and areas, the last 2 years we've received close to 130 plus applications. So, we have, it is a lot, which is fabulous. I get excited. The more, the better.
Sure.
There's some fantastic, amazing girls that are submitting their applications. So, as a committee, we review them, and it's hard. These girls are rock stars. Let me tell you, it's hard to really differentiate one from the other because they are just amazing young women that have bright, bright futures ahead of them. So we as a committee review them very carefully. We narrow them down to 20 finalists.
From 130?
From 130.
Wow, that's
hard job.
Yeah.
Not easy.
It's harder than the college.
Oh my gosh. No kidding. I feel terrible for the admissions offices at these colleges. So after we narrow them down to the 20 finalists, the job is not done. We then have a hand-picked selection committee, and we try to get our selection committee, we take professionals from around the area. We try to get representation from nonprofit, for-profit, academics. So we've gotten RIT deans in the past, COOs of companies, CFOs of nonprofit organizations, and we get these people together to review these 20 finalists, and they have the toughest job of all because they have to narrow the 20 finalists down to 4 recipients. So what we try to do is we choose 1 recipient from each category: regional, regional, east, west, and the city.
Right. And the recipients not only have the distinction of being selected, but they also get some scholarship.
Yes, they do. They get a $2,500 scholarship. Yes, and donors like yourself, we can't thank you enough because of you and our other generous past Athena recipients and finalists. We typically are able to generate enough money to give out 4 $2,500 scholarships.
Sure.
And we've been so lucky in the past that in addition to that, we've started to give out for the remaining 16 finalists a $500 scholarship as well, which
That's
they
beautiful.
are thrilled about.
Sure.
And to your point, the recognition is amazing for them.
Yes.
The event itself, which is held in May, we get their families together, their supporters from their schools, their counselors, their teachers, their principals, and it's a jam-packed room of just very excited, enthusiastic people supporting these 20 women, these 20 young women.
And they sure are rock stars when
Oh my
attended.
gosh.
It's like, wow, how did they get to do all of those things?
They are.
And still get great, wonderful grades.
They're unbelievable. I actually bring my daughter, she's 14, I bring her and her friends the past few years, and I say, see these girls? This is who you should aspire to be.
Oh, I love that.
It's
That's
just a
great.
great inspirational story, every one of them.
Sure, because
Yeah.
seeing more role models make you want to be like them.
You would
I
hope,
know.
yes.
Yeah,
That's our
great.
hope.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's terrific. And I know scholarships matter. When I was going to college, I had 11 scholarships that I stitched together. 250, 500,
Yes,
whatever.
they
And
add
when you
up.
put it all together, and that's less loan that one has to take, or less work study, or whatever other
They're so
program.
appreciative.
Yeah,
They write thank you notes to us.
Yeah,
We can't
right.
thank you enough for the experience, but the money too, it really does help them.
Sure.
In our goal this year, this is something a little different. We're trying to maintain that connection with the girls. After, giving them this award, this scholarship money, we don't want to lose touch with them. So we've made a conscious effort to reach out, for instance, to the past 2019 20 finalists, and our goal is to get them all together during their winter break, because they're all away at college right now.
Sure, right.
We want to pull them back together over winter break and have a little celebration with them, touch base with them, have them communicate with each other, what's been going well at college, what hasn't been going so well, be able to keep that connection with them, because these are our future leaders. These are our future members of the Women's Council.
Yes.
So we want to, continue that connection and that relationship with them.
Sure.
So I'm working hard to make sure that happens in the years to come.
Oh, that's beautiful. Because
Yeah.
the more they get used to networking, then the more they can make that a habit.
Absolutely.
And then become the young Athena, and then
That's
the
right.
Athena. So that's
Exactly.
great.
I mean,
That's a good
we
path.
need to have a succession plan,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That's wonderful.
And then these girls have us to bounce ideas, questions, concerns off of, too.
Yeah.
So it's really a win-win. It honestly is.
That's great. We're going to take a quick break. My guest is Michelle Schleher, and we're talking about the Women's Council and the activities, the awards that they give to women. We'll be right back. I'm Nannette Nocon. It's about money.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and do your part. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit any social gathering. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
And we're back. I'm Nannette Nocon. It's about money. My guest is Michelle Shellyer, and she is with the Women's Council, leadership there as secretary, and also leader at the Rochester Regional Health. And if we could spend a few minutes at the end about your job, because that's so
Absolutely.
exciting for women to have something like what you do. So, so we talked about all the activities that the Women's Council holds, the different awards that's set up. And there's money is involved in taking care of these things, right? So you get donations for the young women of distinction. And how is the support provided for, like, the awards that are given for the Athena and the young Athena? There's no monetary award, but
Right.
there's still organization, and it's
Sure.
costs money to do
Sure,
that.
sure. So there's a few different things. Well, first of all, our relationship, our affiliation with the Rochester Chamber of Commerce, they're wonderful to work with. We've always been affiliated with them. We partner with them for such awards as the Athena. The Athena, we have a nice blended committee that pulls together the event, essentially. We of course work with Susan George over at the Rochester Chamber, who, as you know, puts on amazing
Yes.
events. I mean, she's known for that. So she spearheads the entire event. But the financial piece of the Women's Council, we primarily run off of our membership fees, our annual membership fees. And to be honest with you, all of our scholarship money that we give for the young women of distinction, that is generated from generous donors every year, from our past Athena finalists, our past Athena recipients, some of our members. We have these wonderful relationships with them where we can reach out to them, and they are extremely generous, and without their support, we would not have, for instance, our scholarship amounts that we have to give to these young women for the YWOD award. But again, for the Athena and the Athena Young Professional and the organizational, as you know, those are awards. But the sponsorships that we gain for those events, for the tables, that supports the event. But quite honestly, the Women's Council, is basically funded by our annual fees, which is quite affordable, $65 a year.
Okay, thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah,
That's great. That's
it's quite affordable.
Good value for the money that
I would
women
say.
would spend. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
great. So yeah, thank you for sharing all that. And then there's also, I forgot to mention about the organizational award.
There is. That's the third award. That's right. And just to be sure I explain it properly, it's a very recent addition to our overall awards for the Athena, and it celebrates essentially. It honors, really, women leaders of businesses and organizations. And I say that because you've got the business, or you could have a for-profit or a non-for-profit. And if you are a women-led or a women-owned business or organization, you certainly could be a candidate. But essentially, there's four traits or 4 themes that we look for in these organizational recipients. We need to make sure that these women-led organizations, they are creating a culture that encourages women employees to achieve their full leadership potential. We need to make sure that these women are giving back to their larger community of women and girls by providing leadership, essentially, leadership development opportunities and initiatives. And again, it has to be women-owned or women-led. And also a detail would be it has to have at least 5 full-time paid employees.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's another requirement. And it's been a huge success since we implemented it a few years back. And it just opens up the opportunities to more women to be recognized for what they're doing
Sure.
in our community.
And also an inspiration to others, seeing women who have
Absolutely.
successfully led organizations, specifically led organizations.
Specifically, yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. And I want to talk to you about your success, is what you do. You're a woman in construction.
Yes, a female in
That's-
construction.
that's-
Yeah,
yeah,
it's an
that's-
anomaly. So,
yeah, yes.
so 20 plus years in this business. I've seen a lot. I've experienced a lot. Some good, some bad. But essentially, I was drawn to this field because of the variety of work that it is and the sense of accomplishment that you get at the completion of a project.
Sure, it's visual.
So,
Yes, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like I had something to do with that.
Yes.
That's kind of the premise. So my background, my education, my formal education is in architecture, engineering, and facilities management, which all kind of ties together. I worked at a construction firm for about 18, 19 years, and so I was physically doing the work, hiring the general contractors or hiring the subcontractors to perform the work for various customers. And about 3 years ago, I decided to jump ship and play the role of the customer. So now over at Rochester Regional, I am in their construction department, essentially hiring the construction managers and having them hire all of the other contractors to perform the work.
I see.
So I'm working closely with the construction managers, ensuring that our projects, and the architects and engineers, of course, making sure the projects are being designed and they meet the codes and requirements for the healthcare spaces that we're working in. I ensure that the projects are being done on budget. I ensure that projects are being done on schedule. And it's just a really rewarding job. I mean,
It's tough though, because it's, I mean, how many women, you said
not many. Not many.
Count it,
No,
yeah.
on my one hand, I can count, yeah. There's a lot of females in, we'll say, construction companies, but they're playing roles of administrative, financial.
Got it.
It's very rare, and unfortunately, and I'm working to change that, but it is very rare to have a female in a project management position or a leadership position. I'm not really sure why. Like I said, it's always been of interest to me to build, to construct, to help play a part in the construction of something. But I'm not sure. I tend to think that women think maybe it's not a field for them because it's dirty. It might be a little rough. Intimidating. I think they're intimidated. But quite honestly, if you know what you're doing and you're confident, you could be successful in any role, any non-traditional role for that matter. I am such an advocate for females getting into this field that I've gone back to my alma mater, RIT, and I teach there part-time.
Oh, nice.
And I really do try to seek out the female engineering students, and I try to attract them to my class. I teach a class called Construction Project Management. And every semester that I teach, there seems to be 1 or 2 more females in the class. So I feel like I'm making progress.
That's wonderful. That's
making
terrific.
progress.
That's
Slowly.
great.
It's a slow process, though.
It's still progress. That's
Yes,
good.
it's still progress. So back in the 90s, when I was in engineering and architecture school, there was just a handful of us in our program.
I see.
We started off with maybe 6 females, and I think we ended up graduating maybe 3 or 4.
Wow. Interesting.
So not much has changed. There's still a very low percentage of females enrolling into the engineering and architecture fields and construction fields. more than before, but still not enough, in my opinion. So, like I said, I'm a huge advocate. I try as much as possible to speak to high schools, middle schools. I go and I do presentations. My daughter's an aspiring female engineer. She hopes to be someday.
Yes.
And I constantly am taking her and her friends to RIT open houses,
Yes.
to display what these women engineers can do, what engineers can do in general.
Sure.
And so I'm hoping I make a difference.
Yeah.
I really enjoy what I do. I just wish more women understood how fun of a career it could be for them.
Sure, sure. Now, when you were a young girl, did
Yeah.
you work with building stuff, or?
So interestingly enough, my father, who was a full-time police officer in the city, on the side, he was always constructing, renovating, building something. So we lived in a house that was built in the early 1900s, and room by room by room, he was ripping it apart and renovating it. So I was always watching it, and just to witness the transformation of each room
Yes.
was, to me, pretty exciting.
Sure, yes.
So in high school, when I found out that they offered classes, technology classes in architectural drawing, mechanical drawing, drafting, I jumped on those. I said, oh, I want to be involved with those classes. I was the only girl. However, it all ended up okay because those classes opened up those opportunities to me and
Sure.
showed me what was involved behind the scenes.
Yes.
And that's ultimately what led me to enroll into school with, taking those classes and those disciplines. So I personally did not build anything, but watching my father and what he was able to construct and ultimately do with his tools was mind-blowing to me.
Sure.
So I'm pretty sure that had something to do with it.
That's great. It sounds
Yeah.
like there's encouragement too, because otherwise you would have been
Right.
turned off or whatever with it. That's
Right.
great.
It was a
That's
long
wonderful.
road. It was a tough road, but long story short, it was well worth it. The hard work,
Yes.
the education, and all the experience that I have. I just love talking to young females about the opportunities that they have in this field.
Yeah, I think
There's a
it's
lot
great.
of them.
Yeah, yeah. And there's not that many women in construction. That's sort of like, oh, I got to talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. Any opportunity to talk about it, I'll talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's great. And RGH is Rochester Regional Health is certainly expanding its footprint,
Yes.
right? New building coming up.
We've got so much going on. We've got the Rochester General Campus, which, of course, this coming fall of 2020, we're going to be opening up our bed tower. It's just a massive building. It's going to be wonderful, 7 floors. Everyone's beyond excited. The clinical staff, the leaders, the construction team, we all have a part in that job.
Sure.
But in addition to Rochester General, which a lot of people don't realize, there's so much going on at Unity and St. Mary's and Clifton Springs and Newark and United Memorial out in Batavia. So thankfully, I have a part in some of those projects. So I've been doing a lot of work out at St. Mary's, making massive improvements out at that campus, which is a long time coming. It's a beautiful, beautiful building located in the city, and it's really starting to take shape,
Nice.
floor by floor. So we're putting some time and money and effort into that building. And Unity has some amazing things coming up. I can't really talk about everything,
Sure.
but there's a lot of things coming down the pipeline at Unity Hospital that I'm heavily involved with. So I'm doing work at all 3 of those campuses, and it's exciting.
I'm impressed very much. That's great. That's great. Very exciting.
It is.
Many women go on to traditional fields.
They
but in
do.
some, even in my field in financial planning, there aren't that many men. I mean, it's grown a little bit, but
Yes.
still, we need women. So I try to encourage women to go into the field because I think it's a great fit for many. So.
Oh, it absolutely is. To be financially stable and financially knowledgeable of your finances is it's very important for females. Every opportunity that I have, and I work with a female financial planner, as a matter of fact, and every opportunity I have, I'm trying to teach my daughter and my son the importance of financial planning.
Sure.
And
Financial independence, yes. for sure.
absolutely, you need to be able to be financially independent.
Yeah, that's great. Well, this has been a delightful conversation. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been fun. Thank you for talking about Women's Council,
Yes.
and then, of course, your experience as a woman in construction. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
And thank you, our guests, for joining us today. My guest has been Michelle Shellyer, and thank you for all the work that you do in Women's Council and then at Rochester Regional Health. And thank you, our guests, for joining us today. And until next time, I'm Nannette Nocon, and it's about money.